This is sports editor Justin Antweil. It's Heat Media Day. We're here at the Bank United Center. We're here with University of Miami alum James Jones. James, first off, how excited are you for basketball season to finally get underway relatively soon?
I've been waiting all summer for this time. It kind of brings me back to my college days when you're in the summer working out, going to summer school, and just anxious for the season to start. So I'm kind of like a kid in the candy store. I'm giddy right now.
Where were you on July 8th when LeBron James and Chris Bosh announced they were taking their talents to South Beach?
I was actually in Barbados. I hosted a basketball camp in the summer, so I was over there with the family. We had just finished up our last day of camp, and I was at the hotel just like every other fan in America and every other fan across the world, just waiting to see what his decision was.
How excited were you when you found out the big three are now going to be part of the Miami Heat?
I mean, as a player, it's exciting because you really see yourself having an opportunity to win a championship. But collectively, as a city, I know that everyone's ecstatic because for the first time, the Miami Heat, we dominate the airwaves.
You think that the big three and the rest of you role players as well can do something for South Florida that hasn't been done in a while? Everybody knows about the plethora of football talent and baseball talent down here, but how about basketball-wise? Can you make a statement in South Florida, the Miami Heat?
Well, I think they've made that statement, and the city's committed to supporting them. You know, it's been, you know, we've had teams that have garnered support from the city for a year or two. But the way these guys have handled themselves and the way they've positioned themselves, we can look at the city supporting this team and this run for multiple years to come.
You've got to know Chris Bosh for around 2+ months now. What's something that you know about Chris Bosh that maybe the average fan doesn't know about CB1?
Well, he's a very humble guy, a very quiet guy, and what you see is what you get. I mean, he's a class act, he's a relentless worker, but he's a talented basketball player and a very talented individual as well. So I think you get the complete package because so often people just tend to look at what a guy can do on the floor and kind of say that what he does is who he is.
How about LeBron James? Give us a nugget that not everyone would know about LeBron James.
LeBron, you know, he's his worst critic. You know, there's always something he can do better. He may be considered the best player in the world, and he'll consider himself the worst player in the world because he's just always craving to be the best at what he does. It's similar to what the attitude that Dwayne has, and that's what makes this opportunity to be down here so unique because you have three of the world's best players who all consider themselves just, you know, guys that are pushing for championships and guys that can get exponentially better.
You feel like the Miami Heat are going to have a target on their back this year? I mean, you guys pretty much are the team to beat, at least on paper. Of course, you have to play it on the hardwood, but you feel like every night you're going to get the best from whether it's the Milwaukee Bucks, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Boston Celtics?
We expect that, and we wouldn't expect anything less because this is a very competitive league. And as players, that's the only way you can get better. And we know that to win a championship, it'll take some growth, it'll take sacrifice, and we can try to simulate that as much as possible. But we'll actually need some of that. We'll need some of that negativity from the media. We'll need the best effort and you know, the most energetic opposing arenas to get us ready and prep us for what it takes to win a championship.
Let's talk about you now, James. Now you're back at your roots here at the Bank United Center, although you're probably playing in Miami Arena a little bit as well. I mean, how good is it to be back here at the University of Miami on this media day?
When I heard we were bringing it here, you know, it was exciting for me because in a way, this is where it really started. You know, here at the University of Miami, I had some great years. I grew a lot as a player, and I had the luxury of actually opening this building when we played North Carolina. So to have an opportunity to kind of start my professional track and path and then bring it back here when this is the most exciting time for basketball in this city, it's a real cool experience for me.
How about the maturation here, the facilities here at the University of Miami? I mean, from the Miami Arena, now the Bank United Center, now we have a 29,000 square foot basketball facility.
Well, I was joking with someone about that earlier because I said when we were playing, there were guys walking around in hard hats because they were still, the arena was still under construction, and we were still kind of between here and the HEC. And so now that, you know, the practice facility, the players' lounge, and the arena, and the banners, and you know, the electronics. Now that everything's together, a complete package, it's something that makes me wish if I could rewind the clock a little bit and come back and play 4 years here instead of just half a season.
Did you practice with the Miami Hurricanes basketball team over the summer?
I had a chance to visit and play with those guys, and I'm really excited with what they've done. Everyone knows that they have a young team, but they really underestimate the character and maturity of these young guys, and I expect them to make leaps and bounds as far as their improvement from last year. But when you get a chance to spend quality time with them, you realize they're great individuals. They're great young guys that should be supported and commended for what they do.
How good of a job is head coach Frank Haith doing? I mean, it seems like every year the recruiting classes are getting better and better. He's bringing in prominent players like a Daquan Jones, like a Duran Scott. How do you like the job that Frank Haith's done?
I mean, I love what Coach Haith has done. I mean, I tell him all the time that he is Miami basketball because he embodies it. I mean, he's a coach that loves his players, but more than anything, he wants them to develop to be great men. And when you find yourself on the court in hostile territory, the guys that are winners are the guys that are great men, and he's done a great job of building that, and I think the recruits see that, and I just wish him the best, and I know that as this thing grows and as the city continues to embrace this program, that we have great years ahead of us.
How good is Duran Scott, now the sophomore point guard for this Miami Hurricanes basketball team? How good can Duran be?
He can be as good as he wants to be, and the scary part for the opponents is he wants to be as good as he can be. I mean, he's a great worker, he's a great leader, but he's a good listener, and that's something that is tough to find these days because guys are thinking one and done in college, and they think that they know everything, and he understands that he has a special talent. He's a very skilled player, but that if he listens, he can be a better leader and lead this team to special places.
Hurricanes kind of struggled in the ACC a bit last year, but towards the end of the season they really finished strong, had a great performance in the ACC tournament, but fell short to Duke. You think that momentum towards the end of the season can carry over to the 2010-2011 campaign?
Well, that's the way college works. I mean, college is one of those things, unlike the NBA. There's usually not a lot of movement, and so you just build your teams and add one or two pieces here. And so, the guys that are here, they had the opportunity to struggle late last year, figure things out, and then build confidence and momentum going into this season. And so if they can continue to grow and continue to develop, you find yourself where, 6 or 7 months later, after a rough and rocky start, you have guys that are ready, hungry to go out there and dominate the ACC.
Give Hurricanes one basketball player to look out to. Everybody knows about Duran Scott as he's the focal point of this team, but who should Hurricanes fans look out for this upcoming season?
It starts with Duran, but you have to look at Daquan, because when you're in situations like this where you've had a taste of success, the new and upcoming guys still look to those guys that are their main guys. They still look at their most talented players to see how they mature and if they go to another level. And so similar to when I was in high school, when I was in college, when John Selmans left for the NBA, it was one of those situations where the rest of the players looked at us and said, okay, how much better did you get from last year to this year? And that gives them confidence. So I expect those two guys to really make it a special season, but you just have to be realistic. It's going to be tough because this is the ACC, but that's one of the draws to playing here at the University of Miami is that you get quality competition every single night.
And it's kind of unfortunate. You have Gators outnumbering you on your Miami Heat team. You've got two Gators in Udonis Haslem and Mike Miller. How much you guys joking around with each other? I mean, them being Gators and you're being the lone cane.
Well, Udonis is a Miami guy, and so he's kind of like a neutral. So it's really just me and Mike, and then but I don't really worry about it because these guys still have to walk around in my streets. This is my city. We're Cane fans. There are some Gator fans here, but this is still Cane country, and so they temper it a little bit. But with all that's going on with my Miami Dolphins, my Florida Marlins, and all the rest of that stuff, we really don't get a chance to talk college too much.
James, one more thing before we let you go. Can you just throw up the U in front of our camera right now and flash it?
305. Born and raised. I'll be here to the end.
James, thanks so much. Best of luck this season. Stay healthy. Hope to see you at some Hurricanes basketball games this year as well. That was James Jones, the Miami Heat.